Hello, this is Tim Thompson. I am EDLD 5352 right now, section A09, and this is my participating video. I have quite a bit of leadership experience. This is my fourth year teaching. In my first year teaching, I taught at an alternative campus. My second year teaching was at the campus I'm at now, Hamilton Middle School. And after my first year of teaching at Hamilton, I was asked to be the summer school administrator for that coming up summer, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and that was my first introduction into leadership in the educational setting, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I really enjoy working with at-risk students, which you get a chance obviously to do that a lot during summer school, and have since had a lot of other leadership experience as well. Today I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Pigeon. He is an 8th grade science teacher at Hamilton. We'll also be interviewing Mr. IJ, as we call him. It's Mr. Ibsen Johnson, who is an 8th grade math teacher at Hamilton. I'll then be interviewing Mrs. Layton. Mrs. Layton is an 8th grade science teacher as well at Hamilton. One of my colleagues with Mr. Pigeon, who I have PLCs with often, and I'll also be interviewing Mr. Ballard, who is a first-year teacher and teaches 7th and 8th grade history. I look forward to finding out some of their insights into what they know about the campus vision and how it pertains to them, their students in the school. One of the things that I plan on doing as far as to get a full understanding of what their perceptions are of campus vision is to not only ask some questions that will find out what they know about campus vision, but also ask some questions that dig a little bit deeper, like how does the campus vision affect your lesson planning, for example? Because not only do I want to find out and get an awareness of what their view of the campus vision is, but I also want to find out if they can apply the campus vision and if they are currently doing so within their work at the school. And that's real important, that they can apply what they've learned about it as well as knowing and understanding it. In addition to that, there will be quite a few questions that ask different things in regards to professional development, how they feel the campus vision is being implemented in that way, how do they feel it's being communicated to not only the students at the school, but also the staff members as well as the community. It's real important to me that campus vision not only be communicated to the students at the school through the teachers, but also that the community is kept involved and abreast, as well as all the stakeholders of what's going on within the campus. I believe that campus vision should be structured and built around the community, that they should be a part of that process when it comes to developing a campus vision. I plan on utilizing predominant and key members of the community when it comes to developing my vision at the first campus that I have a chance to be administrator of. And that way, not only making them a part of the vision and the development of it, guiding them through that process, but also to allow them to take some ownership of it, which will also help with the buy-in. So there'll be community members, faculty and staff, obviously, parents within the community of students at the school, and through that process, I believe that there can be a more comprehensive development of a campus vision that will be more successful when it comes to the implementation of it. I hope you enjoy my interviews. So this is Mr. Ibsen Johnson. He's the 8th grade math teacher here at Hamilton. And the purpose of this interview is to talk about the campus vision and how it affects morale, amongst other things. So, IJ, how does the campus recognize and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
We go back through here, and in the faculty meetings and weekly emails, the principal will go back through and recognize the faculty members who have gone above and beyond what the vision entails. recognizing them in print, recognizing them with various awards that have their name on them and what they've done to deserve the award, so that they can go back through and give ideas to other faculty members about not only what it means to go through and do what you're supposed to do anyway, but what you can do to go above and beyond, so that you're meeting the needs of the vision and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but what can you do to go above and beyond that, and really push your students forward and really meet the needs of your students, of the vision and everything that the school stands for, as you're moving through your curriculum.
Okay. And how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and the community?
When we go back through, we have a lot of different times of the year where the parents can come up to the building, where community members can come in. They're always welcome in our classrooms so that they can come visit, they can see what's going on firsthand. You know, not just open house night or you know, when we have band concerts and everything. Parents can come up and they can sit through the classes with their students. They can come up and see what's going on. We have different clubs that meet and have different activities that they put together as well. We've got the plays that go on, so that they can really get a feel for how the school is functioning. They can see the climate between the students and the teachers. They can see how the community itself is coming in and working together, and just really get that overall feeling for how everything is flowing, and how it's not just one select group of people that's making it happen. It's everybody working together.
How does the campus vision impact morale?
Without vision, excuse me, without having a vision, you have no direction. If you have no direction, then everybody's off doing their own thing and nobody's working together. If you're not working together, you have no morale. You have no, excuse me, you have no camaraderie. You have no team building. You have nothing going on between your teachers, because you're not working towards a common goal. So when you have that vision, you have the opportunity to go back through, bring your team together, bring your teachers together to work towards a common goal. How are you going to do this as a team? Not just an individual, but as a team, how are you going to work through everything together? When you have setbacks, it's not just a personal setback, it's a team setback. How are we going to go through, and how are we going to work past this? How can we make it better?
Correct. And do you feel like the campus vision is communicated in professional development? If so, in what ways?
I do, because once we've got that vision and we've stated what our vision is, in this case, it's to go back through and to get the community involved and to have that mutual respect within the atmosphere. It's not just enough to say it. We got to live it. We got to breathe it. We got to go back through, and we have to prove that we're doing it every day in some way, shape, or form. And that's not going to happen if we don't have training to go along with it. Whether you're a veteran teacher, or a brand new teacher, or you're transferring in from another campus, you've got to buy into it, you've got to believe it, and you've got to put it forward. And that's not going to happen if you don't have some form of training. So you need to go back through, and you need to make sure that every year you've got something that's going to meet the needs of every teacher at whatever level they're coming in at, so that you're not going through and you're not repeating what they already know, but you're not jumping ahead of what they don't have already.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Shipson Johnson. So this is Mr. Pigeon. He's a 8th grade science teacher in my school, and he's currently involved in not only the science program, but he teaches intervention classes as well as after school detention, and helps out in other areas as well. The overview of this interview is basically going to talk to him about the school's vision and how it affects morale, as well as how it's seen in the student body as well as the community. So, Mr. Pigeon, how does the campus recognize and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
One of the things that I've recognized as I'm new to the district, new to this campus, one thing that stands out for me is every faculty meeting we've had, our principal always has a Principal Hero Award, which, as cheesy as it may sound, being able to actually be recognized for some of the things you do helps motivate and represent and show that the administration and some of the things you do that you may think go unnoticed don't necessarily go unnoticed. So that kind of helps out quite a bit. I believe that one of the things that we really strive for here is letting the students know, as well as the teachers and staff know, that we expect 100% participation and 100% engagement at all times in the classroom and even in the hallways and anywhere else we interact with our students. And they want to make sure and see that the students are doing their work and that they're being taught at the greatest level that we can achieve.
Great. So how do you feel these contributions and achievements effectively are communicated to the staff, students, and community?
With the idea that we do 100% success and work together as a team, I believe that it shows our students that, especially in the 8th grade in the science department, that if you and I are doing the same thing and we're doing the same thing as the other science teacher in our department, that we're working together and we're trying to stay on the same topic. One, it shows the students that we work as a team, just as they do on the football field or the basketball court. And it helps the parents and the community realize and understand that it doesn't matter which teacher they have for which subject, everybody's on the same page and they're working together. And they do support teamwork and they support each other.
Right. And how does the campus use innovative thinking as a learning experience?
We have many different tools available to us. Technology is one of the vast majority of tools and activities we have. We've got, for the science department, we've got different activities and online resources we can use. Our textbooks are online resources for that. Our students have the ability to use their own devices as needed or as permitted by teachers to access material. We allow our students to, rather than just give them the answers and say, this is why, I believe that most of us, most teachers, we actually promote the ingenuity and the creativity by having the students go research it and find the ideas and information for themselves, rather than just saying, here's the worksheet, the answer is A. Here's the worksheet, this is the answer for the definition. Instead, we find ways to try to have our students research the topics and ideas, even if it's looking it up in the textbook, or if it's using their cell phone real quick to go to Google and Google the information. Yeah, they're actually taking ownership in what they're doing by doing that.
Awesome. And how would you say the campus vision affects morale?
The morale is great, I think, among most of the teachers. The vision that we have says that we should work and operate as a team, and we do have teams and clusters that we have on the campus, which helps out quite a bit. With that, it allows us to work weekly in meetings with our teams and our clusters and get together and discuss issues we're having with students, problems that we have with lesson and format delivery. So the whole idea of teamwork and the whole vision that we have is very beneficial for everybody. It allows us and our morale. We get to communicate with each other. We're off at the same time. We have the same conference periods, so we get to actually sit down and say, Johnny understood this, Susie didn't, what can we do to make it better? I think that helps out quite a bit with us as educators.
Correct. So how has the campus vision affected your lesson planning?
I'm a hands-on person. I like to make a lot of the lessons as hands-on as possible. And the fact that we try to leave nobody behind and we have 100%, we're shooting for 100% achievement in everything we do, that allows me to incorporate different ideas and different techniques and methodologies into the lessons, hands-on activities, computer activities, pull out your cell phone and look up this, log on to the computer, let's take a look at this material. We have the STEM scopes. Log on to the STEM scopes thing, play that game, let's take a review quiz real quick. We have a lot of opportunity to have pre-assessments and post-assessments, exit tickets, warm-ups when they come in. So the vision and the mission of the school, it kind of helps define and help me plan what it is I need to do to be successful for me as well as my students.
Okay. In what ways do you feel that the students are affected by the campus vision?
If the students understand and realize that we as teachers are working as a team, and they realize and understand and know that if what's going on in this classroom is the same thing that's going on in the other science classrooms, they understand that nobody's getting different instruction. They're all getting the exact same thing. They all have the same opportunities to learn. They have the same access to the same resources. And I believe that helps with our students because they don't feel like that this particular class gets more attention or gets more supplies or gets more of whatever they want than the other class. I feel like most of our stuff is relatively equitable. We do sometimes have some issues trying to get technology because there's so many classes on campus. But I feel like that the school does a pretty fair job of making sure we have what we need to be successful and that the students have the materials and supplies that they need also.
Correct. And do you feel the campus vision is communicated in professional development? If so, in what ways? And if not, what do you think could be done about it?
I think we do. Whenever we have meetings, if it's any type of professional development here on campus, whether it's a staff meeting or it's an early dismissal and we have a professional development opportunity, or if we're in our PLC meetings, at the top of every single agenda, it's always mentioned. We also, every day in the announcements, they have another little statement that they say, and it is strengthen the knowledge, strengthen the character. And that helps our students realize, and they hear it and they see it. It's on the walls, and we see it every day, and we hear it every day, and that just helps to put that idea out there. So I think it is beneficial, and sometimes it's nice to hear it and be reminded that that's what we're here to do.
So do you feel that the campus vision is communicated to the students often enough?
I do. I think they hear it at least every day, once a day on the announcements.
Okay. And as far as you talked about the communication to the students as well as the morale to the students, do you feel, just for clarification here and specificity, excuse me, that the students throughout that process understand the implications of what the campus vision means to them as well as how it affects them personally?
Initially, no, because it's kind of tough. They're 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders. They hear it, they don't let it register. But as the year progresses and they hear it over and over again, and they witness it and they see what happens between the teachers and the staff members and how they interact and how they work together, I think that it finally does set in with the students, and that it's at that point the students go, oh, and it's like the little light bulb goes off. They may not get it in the 6th or 7th grade, but I feel like by the time they reach the 8th grade, they actually understand what the mission of the school is, the vision of the campus, and what our goals are for them as students.
And do you feel there's anything that we could do to improve the communications of our vision, not only to students, but the community and parents and all stakeholders?
As far as making it more known to the other stakeholders involved in the process, I believe a newsletter, even if it's a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter that goes out, would be beneficial. The principal would be able to give us updates on campus happenings, and it would just it would have some accountability for everybody. But that would be a thing that we can send home to the parents, that the teachers all get, and it just shows, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what good is happening at Hamilton Middle School, and this is what we plan to see happen in the future. This is what's coming up. I think that that's the best way to communicate those. The only other thing that you can do is have meetings, have open forums, invite people to the SDMC meetings, hold coffee with the principal or breakfast with the principal, and give updates that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your help and your time, Mr. Pigeon.
No problem. Thank you.
So this interview is being conducted with Mrs. Laidley, who is an 8th grade science teacher here at Hamilton. We'll be talking today about vision and how it impacts morale and different aspects of campus activities. So, Ms. Layton, how does the campus recognize and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
Well, here at Hamilton, we have hero awards that are given out by the principal and by other staff members. So when they see that good things are happening, they get various different awards and recognition. And for the kids, they also get various different awards. And they get call outs on the announcements, they get shout outs in the hallway, they get signs up, certificates up for the kids are also recognized in the vision.
Awesome. And how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, the students, and the community?
How are say that again? Sorry.
How are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, the students, and the community?
I know that we put things out on the website that are like congratulatory and making sure that the vision of success is out there as a kind of expectation at Hamilton. They put it out on the announcements again in the morning. There's the Twitter account. Things go out on the Twitter account all the time. And by shouting and putting those shout outs of achievement, I think it gives the community a sense of desire to want to get that shout out. So it kind of, in a circulatory kind of way, kind of comes back around and gets that out, that is the expectation, because you get those shout outs.
That's a really good point. How does the campus use innovative thinking as a learning experience?
Well, I know that we are a STEM-based school, so for science, we're constantly doing STEM-based challenges. Even with our STAR review is STEM-based. So that achievement is brought in as a strategy. Being able to go through those steps and those yeah, lost my train of thought. So being able to get the expectations out through those programs and those expectations.
All right. And how does the campus vision impact morale?
Having a vision of no excuses and having a vision of holding everybody accountable is it kind of boosts morale because everyone's on the same page. You're not having to have one person who's promoting one thing and one person who's promoting something else. So the expectation is the same everywhere you go. So with that, you know that A, you are kind of backed up in your promotion of certain things, and you are also, the kids are hearing it constantly. So because of that, they kind of fall in line and follow their expectation. So that in itself makes our day a little bit easier.
And how has the campus vision affected your lesson planning?
With lesson planning, even with just day-to-day expectations of how a lesson should look, you can use that expectation to build your lesson. So, for example, if I know that the expectation is maybe vocabulary acquisition, then I'm going to know that I need to put that into my lesson plan. So with our vision of achievement and success, I'm obviously going to pick lessons and pick structures and pick procedures that are going to promote that effort and that success that's in the vision.
Awesome. And in what ways do you feel the students are affected by this campus vision?
I think that they realize that we're not going to take no for an answer and that we are going to hold their feet to the fire. So if they know that that's going to be the expectation every single time, that excuses are not going to be permitted, then they, again, fall in line. They have the desire to make sure that they meet that.
Right. Okay. And do you feel the campus vision is communicated in professional development? If so, in what ways? And if not, what do you feel could be done to change this?
I think it is because when we walk in and they've got stuff projected up on the board and whatnot, then that's the first thing you see is what our end goal is. But I do think that we could probably put it out there a little bit more. Maybe talk about it some, make sure that new people coming in are really, really well aware of what the vision is as you go. But I do think that it is referred to pretty often.
And do you feel that the campus vision is communicated to students often enough?
Well, they say it every day on the announcements. I do think that maybe saying it in different avenues might be a little better too. Like instead of just being a rote call out at the end of the announcements every day, maybe they could have it, certain class something to just make sure that it is inherent in them 24/7, not just something that they hear. They're actually actively using it, participating in it. But I do think that it is told to them pretty often.
Right. So engagement.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. This has been an interview with Mrs. Layton, 8th grade science teacher at Hamilton Middle School. And now this interview that we're going to do next is with Mr. Ballard. He's 8th grade history teacher. And the purpose of this interview is we're going to be discussing campus vision, how it affects morale, and different things like that on campus. So, Mr. Ballard.
Yes, sir.
How does the campus recognize and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, how does the campus recognize and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
Okay, so how do we celebrate that here? This is my first year teaching here at Hamilton Middle School, and so far I haven't seen a whole lot of celebration about it. I'm still looking to know what our vision is. I know it does consist of trying to empower our students and trying to get them to recognize how important education is to us. And creating respect, I feel like creating respect is gotta be the first thing that has to be done. Because if you don't have the respect for our students, they don't have the respect for us, so on and so on. And creating that here is imperative.
Okay. And how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and the community?
How are they communicated to us? Staff, community, and students?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, to the students, they need to be communicated as in showing the students respect. Because I know how for respect works for me and my relationships with others. If I don't respect that other person, the chance of receiving respect back is minimal, and vice versa. If I don't feel respected, my chance of giving that other person respect, not as high if I go in with thinking, okay, this is another person, and they deserve the respect because they're a living, breathing human being, and everyone deserves respect no matter where you come from, where you've been, what's happened in the past, what's going on currently, and where we're going. So with my students in my community, I need to respect them and treat them as in if we're all on an equal playing field. So doing my best to get rid of my biases, because I know I have my own biases, and I believe everyone in this world does. So trying to get past my own biases.
Okay. That's a really good example. How does the campus use innovative thinking as a learning experience?
Well, obviously technology is ever evolving, and technology is the future. So with phone apps, computer apps, such as in my class, I use Kahoot. I'll explain that just a little bit. If you aren't familiar, or whoever's listening is not familiar, what that is a quiz game online. So currently, or I'll give some examples. So Mexican-American War. We go and I tell them to get their phones out, which they get super excited about because we're not allowed to use our phones, and phones are fun for kids, adults, anyone. And we go in there, and I think it's like 10, 15-second time questions, however long the quiz is, usually no longer than 20 questions. And then sometimes I have candy. Most of the time I don't have candy. Sometimes I do, so they never know I'm keeping them on their toes. And using that technology keeps them engaged way more than whatever sheet I can go print off about the Civil War. Even I can make it as interesting as I want. But reality is that phone is where we are right now. And including more technology, including iPads, tablets, maybe laptops, doing research. I mean, doing research projects is key. Because if I don't want to look at an encyclopedia or newspaper, a piece of paper, because that's becoming obsolete, even though I still do like books. So technology, computer apps, Wikipedia, but actually going to the article so I don't use Wikipedia as my reference.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, the engagement's obviously huge with students, and obviously communicating anything, whether it's the vision or anything else, that's a really important key aspect to it. How does the campus use innovative thinking as a learning experience? Did I just ask that question? I think I just asked that question.
Is that number 3 or 4?
Yeah, I just asked you that question.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay.
How does the campus vision impact morale?
Okay. Utopian societies don't exist, unfortunately. So, using technology is a wonderful thing. And giving it to an individual can be a toss-up. And let me explain that. When I'm in my class, I don't have a class set of computers, but the phone, sometimes the students are doing whatever on their phone. That is besides what I told them to do. Looking up vocabulary words, playing quiz games, or whatever else it could be. Those are usually the things I use the phones for. So, I'm on track, but will you tell me one more time what that question was?
How does the campus vision impact morale?
How does it impact morale? Yeah, I believe it's positive, and monitoring the students on their technology is a big key right now. And I think we're in a very interesting spot with technology along with education right now, because myself being just under 30, I feel like I was the test case where I had option A and option B, where I was raised with like encyclopedias, first stages of computers in the classroom, and I have the best of both worlds. So I know how to use my glossary index, I can use Wikipedia, I can do all these things. And today my kids don't know or barely know how to use an index. And that boggles my mind. It also really bugs me. That's beside the point. So we're in a funny stage with technology and students right now. That's only going to keep evolving, and it's going to be good. It's just a painful stage right now, I believe.
Right. Okay. And how has the campus vision affected your lesson planning?
Okay, how does it affect my lesson planning? Going to the library is great. So going to the library, the students get to use their technology. They have a better chance of wanting to be engaged instead of like me standing up in front of them and telling them, hey, whatever, blah, 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 Civil War, Abraham Lincoln. They can go online. They can look at Lincoln. They can look at Lee. They can look at whatever. They have limitless resources by a click of a mouse and typing. And also, it keeps the pressure off me, which is nice. And so that means I can make my lesson plans and talk to Mr. White and say, hey, Mr. White, I'd like to go to the library, this day, next week, 2 weeks from now, whatever. Can I come in? This is what we're doing. And also, again, playing some quiz games, making sure my lesson plans are up to date so I have some breathing room of knowing what to do and I can plan ahead. So making sure I know what I want to do when I want to do it and using that technology.
So you would say then that when it comes to your lesson planning, the campus vision has also helped to kind of push you into more of that 21st century learning experience with your students?
Yes, absolutely. So the campus vision of wanting to be more technologically advanced and savvy helps me by like I feel like probably I'm harping on how the students, these, how old are they? We got 6 through 8, so maybe 11, 12 years old to older, younger teens. They already know a lot more about technology than I do sometimes, and I get to keep them more engaged because of the campus vision, and that's a positive thing in general. I can't think of one negative thing besides the monitoring. And this group of students, they are a little rough and tough with my lack of trust in them, which is sad to say, but that's just where it is. So I want to be able to be more advanced with our campus vision of technology use, and I don't always trust them, unfortunately, to be on task. But ideally, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll always find a way to sneak around and do other things on their phones, and you have to watch that.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen that in
tricky.
my classroom as well. So, in what ways do you feel that the students are affected by the campus vision?
Okay, they're affected by it by being told, yeah, technology is a great thing, and we need to use it for education purposes. So getting them involved with it at a young age is a very positive thing, I think, because it's only going to advance, and starting to learn at a younger age can only help, because whatever advances we have in the next X many years is only going to help them know how to look things up faster. Like I just alluded to a minute ago, I know how to use my textbook probably a little faster than the internet sometimes, and they don't. Yeah, one time we're doing vocabulary terms, and they were having a hard time, and I was confused of why it was taking them so long to do the simplest of vocabulary terms of looking up historical figures, facts, events, and all that. And then once I realized, I gave them the option of using their phones, they got it done like that. And it blew my mind away, but it also makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very helpful for them, the campus vision with technology, I believe.
So you found then for sure that the technology implementation in your classroom has definitely helped the students stay more engaged.
Absolutely.
Has that been equated to better learning for the students? Or is it more of a struggle with trying to make sure they're on task and not on the internet or doing other things?
It's both. It's both completely. So I've given you more than two examples, but the two examples I'm going to get to are the one of these vocabulary terms of them taking forever and a week to look up these terms using the glossary index, look through the chapter, and I feel confounded of seeing, like, I know how to do this, I can do it. I'm also much older and more, my brain's developed, so I have advantages that way, but I'm also used to using the textbook because that's how I was raised. There weren't smartphones for a long, long time until I was like way out of high school. So that was not an option. And so I believe it is a positive thing. Is that what you asked?
Do you see that it seems to be easier for them and quicker for them to use their phones for like vocabulary, like what you're talking about, as opposed to the book?
Yes, exactly. Okay, I remember the question now. So using the phone, and some have tablets or an iPad sometimes, I let them utilize those in my class when we're doing certain tasks like vocabulary, because they can knock it out so fast. And if we can knock something out fast, that means we can get to something else. And every once in a while, I'll reward them with a few minutes of free time. That's always nice to do.
So then, yeah, they love that.
Yeah, they do.
So then, like, obviously teaching history, then you might use the cell phones just to get my vision clear here. What you're talking about, you might use the cell phones in, like, if you're talking about China in one lesson, you might have them do some research on, like, the terracotta warriors or something like that type of situation.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so do you feel that the campus vision is communicated in professional development? If so, in what ways? If not, what could be done to change this?
Okay, the professional development aspect. I feel like technology is talked about some. It's not talked about enough, at least what I found here. And I know, like, it's gonna get better with time, because we can't stop technology, and not only do we want to not stop it, we want to further it. And the technology aspect is not talked about enough, in my opinion. And talking with other teachers, faculty members, we've talked about how it's more, we need to continue this conversation further. And I firmly believe that, because it's the future, and why not keep walking to the future? Let's at least try to, like, jog, if not run into the future. Let's just meet it head on.
Right. Okay. And so that concludes our interview with Mr. Ballard, 8th grade history teacher here at Hamilton Middle School. Mr. Ballard, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
And those were the interviews that I conducted on Campus Vision. And I want to talk a little bit briefly about some of those interviews and the things that I learned in reflection of this activity. It was very enlightening in a lot of different ways. And I would like to do this again, and more than in some other areas besides just Campus Vision. I think there's a lot of things that can be learned from an activity like this, especially when it comes to interviews and surveys and things like that. And I know that those would be very, very beneficial to me in learning about administration and the things that I might do or change in the future as an administrator. So just to touch on a few of the things that were discussed, on the question of how does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision, most of the teachers, when it came to this, talked about the hero awards that the principal gives out during faculty meetings. That's one of the bigger things that she does on campus to recognize contributions to the campus vision. It's just a little certificate of appreciation that talks about you're my hero. However, it's that acknowledgement in front of your peers that seems to be most important to the faculty. And I know from experience that when I sit in on these meetings, I look, to hear my name called every time I'm sitting in one of the meetings. So it's kind of like something that motivates people as well to really work on striving for excellence in the classroom, not only in administering the campus vision, but in everything that you do as well. Another thing was, how are these contributions effectively communicated to the staff, the students, and the community? When it came to this, most of the teachers that discussed this in detail spoke about when it comes to the community and the parents. They talked about the monthly newsletter that the principal sends out. This affects campus vision, also communicates that to the parents, as well as the things that are going on campus for their students. They also talked about the daily announcements The daily announcements always reflect the campus vision. They always mention the campus vision to the students on a daily basis. In my classroom, I have the students say the campus vision and repeat it daily, just as they do the pledge to the American flag as well as the pledge to the Texas flag. I think that's important because obviously when it comes to comprehension, repetition to me is one of the largest areas when it comes to affecting comprehension and memory, is just that constant repetition all the time. Also, on the question of how does the campus vision impact morale, the teachers talked about the vision, again, how it's repeated in the announcements, and they talked about how they thought that the things like seeing it on the wall in the hallway, the announcements, as it's repeated to them over and over, how that affects not only the behavior of the students in the classroom, but their citizenship in and out of the classroom, around campus, in the community, because we have our students involved in a lot of community things as well. And so it seems to me that in those different ways, all the teachers felt pretty consistent across the board as far as how those things are affecting the students' behavior. What went well as far as the interviews go, I think all the interviews themselves went really well, a lot better than I expected. There was a lot of really good information that was conveyed from the teachers, and a lot of information that I didn't think I would actually get in the beginning. I thought they'd be very brief and to the point on their answers, but they really delved into the answers and gave some really good detailed information as far as how they felt, and I was very surprised and impressed by that. As far as the things that I would change regarding this activity, I believe that there's not a whole lot that I would change. It went so well. I think that one of the most important things that I would do the next time is to make sure that the questions are centered in a way that does allow the person that's being interviewed to dig a little bit deeper and not only acknowledge the question, but also show application of the understanding to that question. In this campus vision interview, a lot of questions were asked about the campus vision. However, I had to add some toward the end that asked the teachers how they were applying that in the classroom, and I thought that was very important to the interview process as well. As far as the surprising information that was revealed through this experience, one of the things that I was very surprised by and a little disappointed in as far as my campus goes was that our newest teacher that I interviewed, and I interviewed this teacher on purpose because I wanted to get this contrast, if you will, between experienced teachers and a newer teacher on campus to find out exactly, how we had done as far as communicating that campus vision to our newer teachers, and we haven't done a very good job. The newer teacher that I interviewed, who was Mr. Ballard, I don't know if he fully understands the campus vision and what it entails. He talked a lot about technology and 21st century skills as opposed to answering the questions centered around the campus vision. And to me, some of his answers were just kind of all over the place. And I don't know if he was nervous because he is a new teacher and he knows he's really being scrutinized, and that this interview made him more nervous, or what the situation was there. But I was definitely disappointed in some of his answers being showing such a lack of understanding of our campus vision and what it means to our students that gets communicated. That was probably, out of the whole experience, the thing that was the most surprising to me, and I plan on working with my administrators on communicating to them the data that I got here and the strategies that I have to suggest to them that we can implement on changing that. I think a mentoring program be critical to that for new teachers. I think there also needs to be a new teacher professional development program when they first start that could focus really heavily on campus vision. As far as how this experience will transform me as an administrator, there are many things about it that are going to transform me in my practice as an administrator. That would be the first one that would be most important to me. I think that when it comes to implementing anything on campus, you start with the foundation, and it has to be developed from early on, and then it has to be repeated constantly over time so that repetition again builds that memory and that comprehension of what's going on, and the climate can then become the culture of the campus vision. The campus vision has to be built into the culture of the campus, and in order to do that, it has to be done from the very beginning on. As a new teacher on campus, you have to ingrain that in their brains that this is our vision, this is what our expectations are, and the things that you want to accomplish as a campus need to be obviously communicated to those new teachers in the very beginning. And professional development can do that, mentoring can do that, coaching can do that, making sure that they're a very active, involved participant in the collaboration process, whether it's through PLCs, study groups, meetings during the week, things like that. They need to be actively engaged and involved from the very first day and mentored at least for the first couple of years on campus. That's going to be a big, important thing when it comes to implementation of anything on my campus besides just campus vision, but obviously campus vision is very important to that. I very much enjoyed this activity and this experience. It's really given me a lot of insight into the things that I know I want to do as an administrator, and helped me learn some of the ways in which I can make sure that things like morale is affected, behavior, citizenship through campus vision, and how these things sometimes fall through the cracks when it comes to certain teachers, and constantly communicating these things on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis through different tools will make sure that happens. Thanks again. This has been Tim Thompson, EDLD 5352.